What if the fate of one of the world's greatest empires didn't hinge on a battle, a treaty, or a revolution, but on a single, invisible drop of blood? This is the story of the Romanovs, the all-powerful rulers of Russia. They commanded armies of millions and controlled a sixth of the planet's surface. But their entire dynasty was brought to its knees by a secret so terrible they would do anything to hide it. It was a curse passed down from Queen Victoria of England herself, a microscopic flaw in their blood that made their only son, their precious heir, a living time bomb. This is a story of how this invisible sickness allowed a mad, hypnotic peasant to seize control of the throne, and how one family's desperate love for their son led to the brutal murder of them all, and the rise of a new world order. To the world, Tsarevich Alexei Romanov was a beautiful, cherubic heir to the Russian throne. But behind the palace walls, he lived in a state of constant, agonizing terror. Alexei was born with hemophilia, the royal disease, a genetic curse that meant his blood didn't clot. For a normal child, a scraped knee is a minor inconvenience. For Alexei, it could be a death sentence. A simple bruise would swell into a black, rock-hard mass, causing pain so excruciating he would beg to die. A nosebleed could last for days. The disease was the monarchy's darkest secret. It came from his mother, the Empress Alexandra, a granddaughter of Queen Victoria of England. She was a carrier, and she had passed a poisoned chalice to her only son. She lived with a crushing, suffocating guilt. Every time Alexei fell, every time he cried out in pain, she saw it as her fault. Palace life became a prison of pillows. Servants followed the boy everywhere, ordered to prevent him from even stumbling. He was carried everywhere, a fragile porcelain doll whose slightest crack could shatter an empire. The future ruler of Russia couldn't even ride a bicycle. The weight of his survival fell squarely on his mother's shoulders, and it was breaking her. The finest doctors in Europe were helpless. They could only watch as the heir to the throne writhed in agony. As Alexandra's faith in medicine crumbled, she turned to a darker, more mystical power. She turned to a man named Grigory Rasputin. He was a wandering peasant from Siberia, a mystic with hypnotic, burning eyes and a reputation for debauchery and divine healing. To the Russian aristocracy, he was a filthy, unholy charlatan. But to the empress, he was a savior, because somehow Rasputin could do what no doctor could. When Alexei was on the verge of death from an internal bleed, Rasputin would be summoned. He would enter the boy's room, fix him with his terrifying gaze, and pray. And then the bleeding would stop. How? To this day, no one is certain. Was it hypnosis, calming the boy and lowering his blood pressure? Or was it something else? To Alexandra, the answer was simple. It was a miracle from God. This single ability gave Rasputin unlimited power. He held the life of the heir, and therefore the future of Russia, in his hands. He began to influence